Hello friends, welcome to Power BI World. In this course, we are going to learn how to use Power BI for doing data analytics, reporting, and presenting powerful insights. So in this course, I will be showing you how to collect data, how to analyze the data that you have added into Power BI, how to create visualization, and once the visualizations are created, how to share this with your colleagues, your clients, your organization, or with whomever you want. Okay, so let's start with Power BI. What is Power BI? So Power BI is one of the fastest growing software in the world to create and publish reports from your data sets. Okay, so I hope you must be aware of what Power BI is, how it looks like, and what all things we can do with Power BI. Okay, so when we talk about Power BI, what usually stuck in our mind or what usually comes in our mind is this beautiful visualizations that we can create with Power BI. Okay, so we think that Power BI is only meant to do the visualizations and create beautiful reports and dashboards, but that's not true. So to create this beautiful visualization, there are few underlying elements that we need to do into Power BI to create our visualization. Okay, so Power BI is not only just creating visualizations, we can do many things with Power BI. Okay, so there is a journey of how we can create the beautiful visualizations into Power BI. Okay, so let's see what the journey is and how we can create the visualizations or dashboard with Power BI. Okay, so the journey of Power BI begins with data. Okay, so to create any visualizations, not only into Power BI or any visualization tool, the journey begins with data. If you have a data, you can create beautiful visualizations, you can create beautiful reports, you can create dashboards if you have the data set with you. Okay, so a data could be anything. It could be a structured data, it could be an unstructured data, it could be a semi-structured data. Okay, so with Power BI, if we have a data, what all things we can do with data in Power BI is we can upload the data into Power BI, we can combine the data from one table to another, we can do transformation of our data, cleanliness, basically what we call, we can clean our data the way we want, and we can update new data into our data sets into Power BI. Okay, so this part of data, while uploading the data or while working with data into Power BI, is called as Power Query. Okay, we have a Power Query option wherein you can transform the data the way you want. So this is why we call this step as a Power Query step. Okay, so once we have the data, once we transform our data, we can then start doing analysis of the data that we have uploaded into Power BI. Okay, the second journey in Power BI is doing analysis. The first step is uploading the data, transforming the data the way you want, removing the data, making the data useful for your analysis. Okay, so the second step is analysis. What all things we can do with analysis is we can create multiple tables, we can link one table with another table. If we have, we can do some calculations into Power BI, like if I want to calculate the sales, or if I want to calculate the year-on-year sales, I can do that. If I want to create any dates into Power BI, I can do that. I can add filters so that I can just see the visualization basis the filters that I want. So this is what we can do in Power BI, which is known as analysis, and this part of analysis is known as PowerBIWorld. Okay, So if you have worked with Excel, you might have seen a pivot table. Similarly, we have a Power Pivot in Power BI, which we will definitely see in our coming videos. So now once you have worked with Power Query and Power Pivot, we get the option to do visualizations into Power BI. Okay, so now I have my data ready. I have cleaned my data the way I want. I have done few analysis with it, like I have created few tables, I have created few calculations into Power BI. Now I can go and create and do some visualizations or create dashboards or reports into Power BI. Okay, so now I can add various charts, I can add tables, I can add metrics, I can even do an interactions with Power BI. I can create interactive reports into Power BI, which is linked to one another. And this part is basically what we see in Power BI canvas. We call it as a visualization tool or a Power BI. Okay. Now once we work with our reports, once we created our reports, dashboard or visualizations into Power BI, we can share this with our colleagues, and we can share this with our colleagues on email. We can share it through web APIs, we can publish it on Power BI servers. We can also use the machine learning algorithms here to create our visualizations and share with our colleagues. So this is basically sharing of report is known as Power BI online services. To share any report, we use Power BI services to publish it on server or to share with our organization for whom we work. Okay, so this is how a Power BI journey looks like, and I hope you have understood till now that Power BI is not only used to create visualizations or dashboard, it is also used to work with your data, do analysis, use machine learning algorithms, and is also used for data science purpose. Okay, so I hope now we have understood the Power BI journey, how Power BI works, what are things we can do with Power BI. Let's jump into the Power BI desktop and load up some data into Power BI and create some good visualizations basis the journey that we have just seen. Okay, so let's go to the Power BI desktop. Okay, so I am into Power BI desktop, and this is how a Power BI page looks like when you launch it on your system. Okay, so let's understand what Power BI is, how we can upload the data, how we can create visualizations, how we can follow the Power BI journey that we just checked it, so that we can work with Power BI. Okay, Power BI gives you an option to sign in onto your account. Okay, so you can see an option which says sign in, and from here what you can do is once you click on sign in, it gives you an option to enter your email address and click on continue. So once you enter your email address and continue, your Power BI application will be logged in, and you will be able to use a Power BI service wherein you can publish your reports with the organizations or with your friends. Okay, so it is not necessary to log in while creating any reports. However, if you want to share it with your friends or colleagues, you have to log in and share it on Power BI services. Okay, so before we proceed and upload the data into Power BI, let me show you the data that we are going to work with. Okay, so I'm going to my desktop and I have an Excel file which says sample data sets. If I open this data set, you will see there is a data set which gave us the sales related information. Okay, we have the order ID, we have the date, customer's name, we have the segment, category, city, state. So this is the data that we are going to work with into Power BI and create the visualization the way we want. Okay, so let me close this, go back to the Power BI. Okay, so now the very first step is to upload the data. So to do so, what we have to do is just go to the get data, and now you get the options to use the data source. So now you have various options like Excel, Power BI datasets, you have data flows, you have the SQL Server, analysis services, so on and so forth. If you click on more, you get various options to upload the data into Power BI. Okay, so these are the options that you get to upload the data. You have SharePoint folder, you have the Access database, so on and so forth. Okay, so for now we are using an Excel file, so what we'll do is just click on Excel and click on connect. So once I click on connect, what it will do is it will ask me to select the file that is kept in a folder. So I will just go to my desktop and click on the sample data set and click on open. Once I click on open, it will take some time to connect and it will give you a pop-up to update the data set. Okay, so if you see, the file is uploaded into Power BI and it has opened a pop-up window which is asking me to select the sheet from that particular file that we have uploaded. Okay, so there are 4 sheets which says new orders, people and returns. What we will do is we will select new orders for now and click on transform data. Okay, so you get the option as load, you get the option as transform data, you get the option as cancel. If we load, we will directly get the data into Power BI. If we click on transform data, it will give us the option to categorize the data the way we want. So let's click on transform data and see what happens. So once I click on transform data, what will happen is it will give you an option which says processing queries, and once that processing is done, it will open a Power Query editor for you to work with your data set that you have uploaded. Okay, so if you see, this page has been opened which is known as Power Query editor. If you can see here, this is your Power Query editor where you can do the changes in your data, where you can make additional or you can add columns, you can remove columns, you can change the data types into Power BI, so on and so forth in your Power Query editor. Okay, so what we will do here is, you see all the data is uploaded into Power BI. This is your Power Query editor which gives you options to transform your data. You have the home option where you have this options, you have the transform data, you have add columns, we can add columns as well, we can view the data, we can use the tools option to do some diagnosis which is related to your machine learning, data science. Okay, so the Power Query editor, as we have seen in the journey, this is what a Power Query editor is known as, or this is how a Power Query editor looks like into Power BI, wherein you can transform your data the way you want. Okay, on the right hand side, if you see, these are the applied steps. So whatever changes you do into Power BI, the steps will be applicable here. So to give you an example, let's say I do not want this particular column into Power BI or into my data. What I can do is just go and do a right click and click on remove. What will happen, that column will be removed and you will see a step that is applied as remove column. Okay, so now I have removed the column and the step is applied here. Okay, if I just close this or cancel this, if I remove this applied step, what will happen is your row that you remove will appear once again into your Power Query editor. Okay, so this is the power of Power Query editor. By mistake, if you remove any column, you can get back that column without making any changes by just clicking on the cancel that step that was applied. Okay, so for now we will remove this column which I don't need it. So I have the columns. Now if you see, these are the data types that I have in the Power BI. So this data type is a text, this is a calendar, that means a date of data type. So you have n number of data types into Power BI. If I click, if I change the data type, I get the decimal, fixed decimal, whole number, percentage, date, time, so on and so forth. I have this data types into Power BI. Okay, so for now let us keep the data the way it is, and to upload this data, just go and click on this option which says close and apply. You get the close and apply option, which will close this Power Query editor and apply the changes that we have done. Apply, this will only apply the changes into the Power Query editor but won't close the Power Query editor, and the close option will just close the Power Query editor without making any changes. Okay, so for now what we will do is click on close and apply. So once we do a close and apply into Power Query, your data will load. You can get this option, you will see this option which says creating connections in data model, loading data to the data model. And now if you see, the file size or the size of that particular sheet will be displayed along with the number of rows in that particular sheet. Okay, so my data is loaded into Power BI, and you can see that the sheet we used was new orders, which is showing in the fields option, and this is where we can see the columns that are there into that particular sheet. Okay, alright, so now my data is loaded into Power BI. So our very first journey of loading the data is completed. Okay, so now we have uploaded data into Power BI. So let us go and create some visualizations into Power BI. Okay, so as you all know, before creating visualization or before creating any visualizations, we need to make sure what exactly or what we have to present to our clients or to our stakeholders or to our organization. Okay, so again, that depends on the data. So now we have uploaded a sales data. So the very first thing that strikes in my mind is I want to see the sales and the revenue of the entire data that I have uploaded. Okay, so that's the very first thing that came into my mind. So there might be things when you upload the data, it comes into your mind that what exactly you have to present to your clients or to your organization. Okay, so now we have uploaded the sales data. Let us create some sales and the revenue basis the data that we have. Okay, so to create any visualizations into Power BI, you can see an option which says as visualization, and basis the visualization that are showing here, you can create the reports accordingly. Okay, so let's see what all things we can present basis the data that we have. So to create any visualization, you can see an option which says visualization. You get more than 30 plus visualization options on this particular screen. Okay, so you can select any of the chart that you want to create. Okay, so let us create a visualization which gives me year-on-year sales. Okay, so I can show that year-on-year sales into a bar chart or a column chart, whichever I want. So let's take a column chart. Once I click on the column chart, what happened here is you can see you get a blank chart type which says select or drag any fields that we want to create the chart for. Okay, so let's increase the size of this particular chart. Okay, let me go, and as I said, I want to create the sales, year-on-year sales. So what I have to do is take the order date and drag it here. Okay, so if you see what it is showing on the axis is order date. It is giving me the year, it is giving me the quarter, month and day. And let me click on the sales. Let me click and drop the sales here. Okay, so if you see what had happened here is it has created a sales graph which says sales by year. So you can see the year that is mentioned here and sales of that particular year. Okay, so now if you see, you have, if I hover to that particular option, it's giving me the year and it's giving me the total sale for that particular year. Okay, also you can see on the axis as order date, which is showing as year, quarter, month and day. So as of now I just want year, so what I'll do is I'll cancel the quarter, month and day field. So this particular chart will only give me the year and year on year sale. Okay, similarly if I want to add a profit to this particular sale, let's drag it here and see what happens. So this is how your profit by year will look like. So you see this dark blue option will give you the profit and the blue option will give you the sales. So instead of using this chart, I can use a chart which gives me the column as well as line chart. Okay, so if you see, if I click on any of the graph, it is changing. Okay, so now I have clicked on line and clustered column chart, and if you see the option below, it gives you the column series, it gives you the column values, it gives you the line values. So depending upon my choice or depending upon the choice, you can drag any of the field from sales or profit to a line values. Okay, so let's take the profit into the line values. Okay, so this is how your chart will look like. Instead of profit, if I take sales to the line values, and this is how it will look like. Okay, so what I am doing here is I am creating a year on year sales and profit. Okay, so let's take profit into line values and let's take sales into the column. Okay, this is how it will look like. So this is the very first chart that we have created. So now let me go and create a pie chart. So I will click on pie chart. So you see there is a pie chart created here in a black and white canvas. Now what it is saying is just go and drop the fields the way I want. So now what I want is I want the category and sales against that categories. Okay, so let me take and drop this into, and let me drop the sales here, which will give me a pie chart which says sales by category, category names and the overall sales along with the contribution of that particular category. Okay, now let us create one more chart which says the profit of categories. Okay, so again, if I want, I can create a pie chart and show the profit against each category. I can use the donut chart to show the profit of each category, or else what I can do is again take this particular chart which says line and clustered column chart, and basis this chart I can just use the categories, sales, and let's take the profit. Okay, so this is how it will look. So both your sales and profit is in columns. Let us take the profit into line values, and this is how your profit against each of the categories will look like. Okay, Alright, so now let's take bar chart, and instead of categories let's take subcategories, and let's take the profit of each subcategories. Okay, so if you see, we have created the profit by subcategories, which is here, which is showing us the profit against each of the subcategories. And let me align this. Let me take this here. Let me take this here. Let me take this a bit down. Let me take this here. Okay. Okay, so this is how your profit against subcategory will look like. And let us create a map which will give me the sales against each of the state that I have in this extract. Okay, so let me drop a state here, and let me drop a sales. So if you see, I have a state-wise sales which is reflecting here. Let me take the state and put that into the legend so that the color of that states will change. Okay. Now if you see, we have created 5 charts which give us the sales and profit against categories, subcategories, by year and by state. Okay. So what we will do now is we will create a slicer which will give us the dates. So let me click on the slicer. So you see there is an option which is showing on your canvas. What I have to do is just drag the field here, and now if you see, a slicer is created here. If I click here, it is asking me to select the start date and an end date as well. Okay, this is the scroller. Basis this scroller I can change the date, the start date. Basis this scroller I can change the end date. Okay, now let me drag this. Let me make some changes to this. Okay, this is how your slicer will look like. You can change the slicer. If I want this, if I don't want the start date, end date, I have an option which gives me various options which we will see in our coming videos. Okay, so now this is giving me the date. If I select any date from this particular list, let's take the start date as 17th, and let's take the end date, let's go to 2011. Let's go to 2011 and take the month as January. Now let's take 1 week of data, which says from 17th of January till 23rd of January, and you see the data on your particular canvas has changed. Okay, so to clear this filter, what we have to do is, if you see the option here which says clear selection, click on this and you have the data on your canvas again the way it was. Okay, so this is how you can create slicer. So let us create a card visualization which will give me an overall sales number and overall profit numbers. Okay, so if you see, I have a card visual, I have a multi-row card visual. So these are the two options. If you want, you can use into your Power BI reporting to get an overview of the total number of sales or the total profit that is done. Okay, so let's take a multi-row card visual. Okay, now what I want here is to show the sales number and I want the profit numbers. Okay, So if you see, what is happening here is it is giving us multiple numbers. So this is your total sales and this is the total profit that has been earned or that is there in this particular data. Let me do this a small. Okay, so these are the a very simple visualization that we have created. So let us do some formatting of our charts or visualization that we have created so that it looks very decent while presenting to our clients. Okay, so the very first thing that we will do is format our slicer which says order date. So to format any of the chart, what we have to do is click on that option and you have the option which says as format on the visualization pane. Okay, so once I click on this format, it gives me various options as a general, slicer, header, date input, slider, title, background. So whatever I want I can change basis my requirements. Okay, so for now what we will do is select the slicer header. Okay, the title is showing as order date and the font color is black, white, outline is none, this. Okay, so what I want here is I don't want the slicer header. So what I will do is I will click it here which says slicer header is off. Okay, so once I click here, you see the slicer header is unavailable for me now. If I click it on, it will be available. Okay, so for now I don't want this slicer header, so I'll keep it as off. Okay, you see the date inputs. If I click on date inputs, it is asking me if it is giving me the option to change the font color, background color, text size, font family. So let me increase the text size first so that it can be visible for you to see. Okay, so if you see, I have taken a text size as 12. I will select the background color as black. So what will happen, this background color will look as black. Can you see this? And if I selected the font color as white, the font color will change to white. Okay, so as of now I want to keep the background color as white and the font color as black. Okay, this is how it will look like. If I want to change the font family, I can go here and change the font family, and now I can increase the size again. Okay, so this is how you can change the date input. Let us go to the slider option. I want the slider color to be, let's say, blue color. So you see a blue color slider has been added. Now this is the option which says as title, which will display a title option. It is showing as off. If I click on, okay, and it is asking me for the title text. So let us see and let us type a title text as date. Okay, once I type a title text, it is asking me for the font color. Now let me see, let me take a font color as purple. Let me align this text to center. It is also asking me for a background color, so let's take a background color like this. This is just an example for you to show. If I want to increase the text size, I can do it. Okay, so let me take the text size as 20. Font family, let me take this as Calibri. Okay, so now this title is completed. So if you see, I have a title as date. I have the options. Let's go to the format option. So it is asking me, that is giving me an option to change the background. So if I want to change the background color, I can do it on, and it's asking me to select the background. So for now I don't want to select any background, so I'll keep this as off. Okay, so it is also giving you the option to lock the aspect ratio of the particular slicer. You can do it if you want. It's giving me for the border, so if it's asking you if you want to add the border, you can do it. So for now we will add the border, and let's say we will click on on. Once I click it on and click on the drop down, so it is asking me color of that border. So let's take the color as let's take the dark color for this. Okay, it's asking me for the radius, so let's take the border radius as 5. Okay, so I've taken the border radius as 5, and if I click outside, so if you see, you can see a border that has been added with the radius as 5. If you want, what you can do is click on the slicer again, and if you want to increase the radius to from 5 to 8, you can do it, and see the radius is changing accordingly. So let us go. You also have an option to whether you want the shadow of the slicer or not. If I click it on, what will happen is, let me select the slicer. I need the shadow. If I need the shadow, I will click it on, and it gives you the option to select the color of the shadow. So let's take a yellowish color again. So it is how the shadow will look like. If I take a lighter color, this is how it will look like. If I take any darker color, this is how it will look like. Okay, and it is also giving you the option to position the shadow the way you want. So now you want the shadow outside or inside, depends. So let's take it inside for now, or let's take it outside, where you want, whether you want on the bottom right, bottom left, right, center, left, right. So depend the way you want, you can just do it the way you want. Okay, you also have the option of custom, so wherever you want you can do it. So let's take, as of now I just want on the bottom left, so this is how it will look. Or if I want it in the center, now let's take it to the bottom left, and this is how it will look. Okay, so this is how you can, you have one more option which says as visual headers, wherein you can change the visual headers visibility on the apply reading. So if it is on, good. This is how. If you do it off, nothing's happened. If you do it on, you get the various option, what background color, border, transparency, what all things you want to do, you can do it from here. Okay, I want to change the slider color from a blue to a yellowish color, so let's take it this, increase the size to this. Okay, so this is how we can format our slicer or any of the chart that we want. Okay, so what I'll do is I will format all the options, all the charts, and come back to you once the formatting is done. Okay, so we have done the formatting of the charts and realignment of the charts, or the visualization is done here. So if you see, what we have done is we have realigned, we have the date, we have the overall sales and profit, we have the sales and profit by year. So it's just basically what we have done is done the formatting of our charts, and we have realigned it. Okay, so this is how visualizations can be created. Apart from this, what we can do is we can also add a text box or any shapes or images to our chart. So to do so, what we can do is we can go to the insert option, and in an insert option you see an option which says buttons, which says shapes, which says images, and text box. So what we will do is we will add a text box. If I click on text box, so if you see, you get an option which says a text box, and here I can type the text that I want. So let's say we will type a text which says our first Power BI report. Okay, so this is what our text is, our first Power BI report. We will just select this, go to the font family, change the font family, and increase the font size. Okay, so let us take this as 20, and you can just do the shape, or you can align the shape and the color the way you want. So let's take the color as this for now. Okay, I'm aligning the text into the center, and I can just scroll this up, align it accordingly. Let's take it down. Okay, so this is how I can do. And again, I get the format text box. I can add the borders the way I want, the way I did it to our previous options. Let's go and take the radius as 8. Okay, I want the shadow. Okay, I will take the shadow, again the same. I'll take this time to the left and color as this. Okay, so this is how your text box will look like. Okay, apart from this, you also got an option which says insert link. If I want to give any link, I can give it here. Okay, what I'll do is, for now I will go here, I will type a link to my website which says www.powerbiworld.com. This is the link to my website. It says powerbiworld.com. Okay, I will select this and I will click on insert link. So you see a powerbiworld.com link has been added. I just have to click on done. So what will happen is the link to Power BI World has been added here. Okay, similarly, if you want to add any buttons, you can do it from here as well. You have various options for buttons. Okay, and you can select any of the buttons from here. We also have a video which says how we can add text box, buttons and shapes into Power BI. So this is how we can create dashboards into Power BI. So now we have created our first report into Power BI. You can see the visualizations. Now once the report is completed, what we have to do is publish the report with our colleagues or with our friends or with the organization. So to do so, there are a couple of options. As I said, we can publish the report, the Power BI report. So the very first option is we can share this report on email. Okay, so once you save this report, let me go to the desktop. So if you see, I have saved this report as first report. What I'll do is I'll just copy this and attach this as an attachment on my email and share this with my colleagues or with my friends, with whomever I want. So this is the first way that we can share the Power BI report with our friends, colleagues or with anyone we want on our email IDs. The second option that you get to share the report is through this option which says publish. So once you click on publish, what will happen here is it will ask you for your email address. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to enter the email address. So a point to remember here is, if we want to access Power BI service, it cannot be done with our personal email ID. Okay, so if I try to put my personal email ID, like example powerbiworld.gmail.com or my name @gmail.com, yahoo.com, whatever it is, so it won't give you an access, it won't let you log in. Okay, so to use the Power BI service, what we want is we want a licensed version and a company email ID to access the Power BI service. Okay, so what will happen here is once you access the Power BI service, then you can share the report with your colleagues in the organization or with the organizational managers, or you can save the report in your workspace. Okay, so these are the options wherein we can share our reports with our clients, business or people with whomever I want. Okay, so that's all about in this video. Hope you like this video. This is a very simple visualization that we have created. In our coming video, we will be creating multiple pages, reports and dashboards with Power BI. So there will be a lot of dashboards that will be coming in, lot of report, lot of visualizations that will be coming in on this channel. So hope you like this video. Please comment below and subscribe to my channel. Have a great day.